we must discuss Mikel Arteta. We must. I didn't hear a lot. I didn't think you didn't really say his name in that breakdown.
Well, yeah, I mean, you are right, because tactically, the game was, as I said, I couldn't see where Havertz was playing. That was the one in particular for me, because I'm like, where's the attacker? Yeah. Where's that focal point? That is down, and you are right. You have to put that down to Mikel Arteta.
And not just this game. The reason why I'm saying Arteta, and where it's been right, I'm trying to I do the neutral thing. When Arsenal I've been sometimes, the Man City thing, I defended them when I was like, nah, come on guys, that's not this. This has been coming. From Leicester, Southampton, even though you won them games, Shakhtar, the level of performance has dropped. And like Lee Judges says, when everything's going rosy and everyone wants to blow smoke up his arse, it's all going right, everyone want to praise him, when it's going wrong, whose fault is it? Excuses, excuses. Facts. And Arteta's getting away with a lot of excuses. This isn't because Martin Odegaard popped down with an injury. This is Mikel Arteta's inability to come up with a sufficient enough plan. The whole team, as well as Arsenal are well coached, Arteta's doing all this amazing work, which he has done. And with him being out, Odegaard, this should not look like this. Then it goes back to the transfer window, Mikel Merino, and you're letting go of Smith Rowe, attacking player, etc., Reece Nelson, etc. Like, you have to...
but Flex, the one thing I would say...
I'm just saying, hold on.
The one thing I would say on that, right, is that, they're not creative players. I wouldn't say...
Smith Rowe in a 10 wouldn't be bad.
Smith Rowe's more of an attacking midfielder.
But that's what you need.
That's a creative
player. No, but I'm
saying
the problem is, where I do agree with you, it's not been attacking enough.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. No, but he's gone with Mikel Merino, who you said, remember, he can play as a 10. He's been doing that. You said that for Spain. He done it twice.
Well, he wasn't playing as a 10 on Saturday. He was playing as a box-to-box.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So what I'm saying is you're now looking at a thing where, Arteta, what the hell are you doing? Let's just call it a spade. It's not working with this 4-4-2. This hybrid. Havertz is now half a striker, not a striker.
Yeah, that's
10
not working.
On the right, not working. It's not working with Mikel Merino and Rice in there, right? You have Thomas Partey now in at right back. Okay,
but that was
Ben White's. Ben White's got to come back in.
Partey's been our best midfielder this season.
What I'm saying is that the truth of the matter is that Arteta has been praised so highly for the work that he's done in the right moments. This is the moment where we look at him and say, you have not found a solution for one player being injured.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, and you've also brought in Raheem Sterling, who, again, to be fair, I said, you know what, when they're going through the trenches, they're going through the mud, he's got some experience. He can help. You're not playing him. Martinelli, what are you doing? What awful. Livramento locked him up. Players giving away the ball. You know what I mean?
Lewis Hall locked up Saka.
And, to be fair, Saka still probably would have got an assist.
Saka should have had 2 assists in that, even though
his level,
he did get locked up.
His level wasn't there.
Livramento was brilliant. Yeah. And he wasn't at his level, but he still put in 2.
Yeah, he did. And that would have changed it. But the truth of the matter is people need to we need to discuss Arteta in this. Because...
Well, Eddie's left.
Huh?
Edu's left.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because Arteta's inability to find the right solutions in this, they look worried, they look scared, they look void of... I can't remember the last time I saw Arsenal play where I looked at them and thought, they're not going to score today. They're not going to score today. And like I said, this isn't like... the 10-men thing is one thing, but you look at the performances against Leicester, how you let them back into the game. You look at the first half against Southampton, then eventually going 1-0 down. These are against poor sides, so you eventually came back. You look at the performance against Shakhtar. This was creeping in, and Arteta has not been able to plug the gaps before the catastrophe, i.e. losing at Bournemouth, i.e. losing at Newcastle. And then what's it going to be next? Because if you don't find a solution, like you say, next week against these lot, and they're not a very good team as well, by the way, that's big problems. And I think actually sometimes we can blow things up and say it ain't that deep. I think...
Do you think they could get dragged into a top 4 fight?
100%.
No, listen,
I just said to you... I think they're already Matisse.
I just said to you, it's a worrying performance. Simple as that. It was worrying. You know what I mean? Like you looked at it like you said, Flex. We didn't look like scoring. If you played another 90, we didn't look like scoring.
Robbie, I have to ask, the transfer window where a recognised out-and-out number 9 wasn't brought in, I do believe you gave it a 7 out of 10 transfer window. Was it
7?
8?
Turkish said 7. In the super chat.
7. Tell Turkish to stop lying.
When you're looking at the shocking stats, which are 1 shot on target for that game, do you wish that in the summer you should have gone a bit harder and maybe tried to bring in a Gyökeres?
The thing is though, if you don't play someone as a striker, Havertz has started the season well. He's been scoring goals, right?
Sure.
Even I know he's Preston scored a great goal in that, but I just couldn't work out. I was watching the game. This is where I kind of have to agree.
Everywhere but up front.
I kind of have to agree with Flex on this, right? I'm like, because I was saying it when we were driving. I'm like, where was he playing? Okay, like, who's a striker? There was no strike. So it doesn't matter who you buy. You know what I mean? If you're not going to play the striker down the middle as a striker, you start to think to yourself, what's going on? It was a very weird type of formation, and it just didn't work. And you're right, Arteta does have to take a lot of the blame for that.
Because you know what I mean? The whole way you play because one man
that just wasn't good enough, and that's what I said. You know what I mean? I said it right when you was asking me that we can sit here and talk about Martin Odegaard being out, but there's other ways to create. We didn't create anything. Nothing. We're not. And so that was the really and the person that I felt that we really missed, although he was playing, was Partey, because he's been our best midfielder by a mile this season. He's been the more.
He had the party, didn't he?
He sort of creates from deep.
The night before,
He had
the party.
That was the only party we had.
We didn't have the Thomas, we had the party.
Thank God for the night before, bro, because I'll tell you what.
Shout out top palace as well. Who are they?
Literally. So listen, as you say, Matisse, the table at the minute doesn't look great for Arsenal. They find themselves actually, are they back in 4th now?
No, they're 5th.
Oh, this needs a refresh then.
5th.
There no, it still says 4th on the BBC.
Oh no, that was you're looking at
Arsenal 5th.
Saturday.
We're 5th
right now.
Difference.
I mean,
5th.
As we approach what's going to be a really busy period with more cup games, more challenging games. You've got Chelsea next. I mean, that turns into, and we'll obviously preview it in more detail on Thursday, but that turns into a must win. And if he doesn't get the result, Arteta, are we going to see a few?
Well,
there's already a few.
I think they signed he signed a new contract, right? And this is the second contract he signed at Arsenal, where he's signed a contract before actually getting over the line in the title race, and now obviously letting this season really settle down, and he signed a new contract. So I always thought, how are you going to sack him after just signing a new contract? But if he gets himself into a top 4 fight and doesn't win any trophies this season, that is a sackable offence. I'm sorry, because Arsenal, their trajectory this season was minimum challenge for the Premier League title. That was the minimum. A lot of people, before the transfer window, and rightly so, are demanding a win in the title race, right? But at least challenge and then win a cup and supplement it. If you're in a top 4 fight with Chelsea, Aston Villa, and I'm not saying that you're going to be, but if that's the state of play in May, you're sacked. You have to be.
I think
it's regression.
I think, let's just remember though, right, that we're not in May. You know what I mean? Some people are talking and carrying on like we are in May. We're not in May. It's bad. It's 2 defeats, but we lost to Newcastle last year as well. And at this stage, I think we'd had 2 defeats at this stage as well. And then we had 4 defeats even before Christmas. So it's a case of now, he's got to pick it up. Because that on the weekend was not good enough. And that on the weekend is no excuses. And he does have to take a lot of the blame for that, because I couldn't work out what we were doing. And then the players as well were really disappointing. They weren't brave enough in their play, I felt, as well. You know what I mean? And there's some players that are really badly off form, man. You know what I mean? I don't understand. That's the other thing I'm a bit in agreement with you, Flex, because why is he not using Sterling? I'm looking at Martinelli at the moment, man, and I'm like, he was so bad. I'm like, it would have been a shout to switch it up there and play him. I don't know. We've got 2 games coming up this week that are really tough games, right? But it can change the mood if you do well in those games. You know what I mean? So we've got to go away. We've got to go away to Inter Milan. Got to go away to Inter. Got to go away to Chelsea. The most important out of those 2 for me is that Chelsea game. We have to get something out of that game now.
And it can't be a draw. Really?
Really need a
you
win in
have
that
to win
game.
that
And,
game.
you know, we didn't win there last year. We did. That was another place. I remember we went through, it's kind of mirroring last year that we went through that run. Remember we went Chelsea?
Yeah.
Didn't win that. Only just about beat Luton in the last minute.
4-3, yeah.
But lost to Newcastle. Then, you know, a little after that, lost to Fulham, lost to West Ham. Then we just got it all together after that. We've got to get it together early now, or we're going to be banging trouble, definitely.